Joe Cioffi again, and we're into part two now. We're stuffing the bird, and I neglected to mention before in the stuffing, I took all those croutons that you might have seen on the earlier video, mixed everything in. The sausage is all mixed in. I also have some pecans in here, and you might like nuts in your stuffing, you might not. Pecans, walnuts, chestnuts, that certainly any one or all three of them certainly appropriate. There's no right or wrong amount in terms of how much bread to sausage to bacon combination that you want to the vegetables, the celery, the carrots. So you just sort of ad lib it as you go along. And in the meantime, I've already stuffed both the front cavity and the rear cavity of the bird. Some of it spills out, that's okay. Again, that'll just add to the flavors of the drippings. I seasoned the turkey with paprika, some garlic, and now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in some rosemary and some sage. And I get it fresh, so you can find it in those packets at the store. There's rosemary, there's sage. And what I do is I take a butter knife and I just kind of cut right underneath the skin here and just make for a nice size opening. And I take, this is actually unsalted curry butter, and you just slide it. Well, I'm holding a camera in one hand and sliding the butter in the other, but you get the idea. You slide the butter inside underneath the skin, so this way when it's cooking, all that butter gets into the breast and makes it nice and juicy. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. And don't worry, my hands are clean and washed. I'm Italian. We do these things without putting on plastic bags around our hands. But no matter. You're going to put your rosemary, a sprig of rosemary, underneath that, in that slot. So just going to take a sprig here. There we go. You don't want to, you got to be careful with rosemary, because if you use too much, it can give a very soapy taste to it. And you're going to slide, just slide the sprig of rosemary underneath. You're going to do the same with the sage on both sides. And that's it. After that, you could brush a little bit of olive oil across the top of the bird on the skin and let it rest for a little while before you put it in. I usually put it in a 350 degree oven, and I cook it uncovered. Some people cook it covered, some people cook it uncovered. I tend to cook it uncovered, 350 degrees, and this is a 15-pound turkey. Now, let me just give you a word of advice as far as cooking it. If you want it to come out dry, be sure you cook it to 170 degrees, okay? Because that's usually the standard, that number is used. But the problem is, if you take it out of the oven at 170 degrees, your turkey actually continues to cook. The temperature inside the turkey continues to rise for a good 20 or even 30 minutes before it levels off. So when you take it out at 170, you're effectively going to wind up cooking your breast to 180. Okay, so we don't want to do that. We want to, maybe when you get to about, say, 165, using a thermometer, I use a digital thermometer, at about 165, you take it out, because now you're going to leave it resting. You're going to leave it resting outside on the top of the stove for a good 45 minutes to maybe an hour before you start to carve it. That's probably the most important thing to do, is to let it rest, because all the juices will just stay in there, and it'll be terrific. So if you take it out at 165, the actual breast temperature will eventually go above 170 while it is sitting out of the oven, and that will keep it. Then you'll have it perfectly cooked, and it will be juicy, and it will not be dry at all. So that's a very important last step to make to prevent from having a dry turkey. So this is going to be going in the oven shortly. I'm going to finish dressing it up, and enjoy your Thanksgiving day. We'll, who knows, maybe we'll see you later.